Mr. Rawat, the Election Commission is now going through a very extensive, special, intensive revision. It started with Bihar and they intend to go across the country asking citizens to provide one of 11 documents, not necessarily Aadhaar, which was until now being seen as proof that you could go and vote. Do you believe that's the right thing? Election Commission says we are purifying the election rolls by going through an SIR. Do you believe that the SIR which is being undertaken in Bihar and other parts of the country will soon be undertaken in other parts is a step in the right direction?
Rajdeep, I would say that there has been a change in the approach of Election Commission towards such issues, like duplicates. When voter is not getting his name deleted or her name deleted earlier registration, Election Commission put up Electoral Registration Officers Net, nationwide network, to ensure that all duplicates in the country are brought on the screen and you use deduplication, photo recognition, software of similar demographic entries, and then give notice to that person that your name figures at so many places, so many constituencies. Tell us, where do you want to keep so that all other names are deleted? So instead of criminalizing the Voters Act, Election Commission was always trying to resolve it through technology and through their proactive approach. Now with that, I don't think there is any need, even now, to ask the voter to bring those documents which are not easily accessible to resource-poor voters, especially Bihar. And in a time when floods, monsoon, etc. are taking a heavy toll there, poor people, will they look for their livelihood? Or will they go from office to get these documents? That's the key issue.
So are you against the SIR or the timing of the SIR, doing it on the eve of an election in the middle of a flood season? Or are you against the very idea of an SIR that is asking citizens to prove their citizenship in a way by providing various documents?
No, SIR is important to benchmark an electoral roll. And generally SIR is done periodically, say 10 years, 15 years or 20 years.
The last one was 2003. We are now in 2025.
Yeah, so 22 years.
So you think it's the right thing to do, but the timing is questionable?
Timing is questionable because when elections are around the corner, then stakes become very high for political parties. And they have no holds barred for creating things which are non-existent, which are imaginary, and which may result in supporting their cause.
Mr. Lavasa, you want to respond because the Bihar SIR has seen 65 lakh voters already excluded. Many of them are dead. Many of them apparently do not live at the addresses mentioned. It seems to have become an exercise in exclusion. I want to exclude people. Do you believe the SIR is the right thing to do?
I think we need to look at three things.
Yes, go ahead.
One is the purpose, the other are the principles which are followed, and the third is the procedure which is adopted. So as far as the purpose is concerned, purification, rectification of electoral rolls, I don't think anybody can dispute that purpose. The second is what are the principles that are followed? And I think one of the contentious things which was done in this SIR exercise in Bihar was that they introduced the concept of citizenship. And the term which was used in the 24th June order was that all those who exist in the electoral roll up to 2003, they have a probative evidence of eligibility and presumption of citizenship. I think this is a phraseology which was never employed by the Election Commission in the past. So that is one. I think it's a contentious territory for the Election Commission to enter for the simple reason that all the 75 years that Election Commission has prepared electoral rolls, they have kept in view the eligibility criteria according to the Article 326 of the Constitution. So they have kept in view that only Indian citizens are eligible to vote. Now, is it for the ECI to determine citizenship? I think that is the contentious part. The third, which is more important, which is, I think, causing all the difficulties and the heartburns is the procedure which is employed. For example, you are putting the onus of providing proof on the citizen, whereas so far it was a very inclusive process by which the machinery went to the people and got them included in the roll. So now, theoretically, as I have said in the past, that if you existed in the electoral roll in 1951, which was the first electoral roll, and you continue to exist all the 74 years, including the last revision which took place in January 2025. But if you did not sign and submit a form which was given to you by the BLO, your name could be excluded. So a clerical process has become more important than the constitutional right of an individual.
But you see, Dr. Quraishi, what the Election Commission is saying is, or not saying explicitly but implicitly, and certain political parties are saying, is over the years, a lot of ghuspetiyas or illegal immigrants have entered India. They've got Aadhaar cards. There is an oversaturation of Aadhaar cards. Therefore, we need to purify the rolls to ensure only Indian citizens can vote. Do you agree with that or not?
Well, that is the stand of the Government Election Commission hasn't said that. Your
Political parties are saying
yeah,
it.
political, yes. But what the question you had asked him, whether this was a correct decision. I personally feel it was unnecessary, and I'll tell you why, and ill-timed, and choice of state was also wrong. Why it was unnecessary? Because as you mentioned, in 2003, we had the last intensive roll. You know, what does intensive roll imply? That the existing roll is thrown into the dustbin, and we have to start afresh. Now, we had taken 30 years to reach the stage when 99% of people were on the roll. 98% of the people had elector photo identity card with you, and throwing them into the dump and start again. You have to do 30 years work in 3 months, and flood prone and all that is very difficult. If they wanted to experiment with this idea, they should have started in a state which had elections 2 years away or 3 years away, and shown it to the country that this is the right thing to do. Here, I think not only they have opened a Pandora's box, my expression will be they have put their hand into hornet's nest. And the result, the real consequence is yet to come out when finally 1 crore plus people are deleted. That is when hell will break loose. Already it is causing a lot of consternation, but that is when the true test is ultimate outcome. What happens, we'll wait and see.
Okay, so the consensus is by and large elections in India are free and fair, but there are serious question marks over the way the special intensive revision is being carried out, either as a matter of principle or procedure or indeed timing. I therefore want to come for a moment and play out something, because one of your successors, the present Chief Election Commissioner, is in a tug-of-war with Rahul Gandhi. Now, I want you to hear what he said at a press conference he held, and I want your comments. What would you have done in a similar situation? First, let's listen into Gyanesh Kumar, the Chief Election Commissioner, responding to Rahul Gandhi's charges of vote theft.
60% से ज्यादा वोटिंग होती है, जो दुनिया के बड़े बड़े जनतंत्र जिसके लिए सोच सकते हैं। दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा जनतंत्र है भारत। दुनिया का सबसे बड़ी मतदाता सूची हमारे पास है, लगभग 90 करोड़ से 100 करोड़ के बीच में। सबसे बड़ी मतदाता सूची, सबसे बड़े चुनाव कर्मियों की फौज, सबसे ज्यादा मतदान करने वाले लोगों की संख्या, और इन सब के समक्ष, सारे मीडिया के समक्ष ये कहना कि अगर मतदाता सूची में आपका नाम एक बार और है तो आपने 2 बार मतदान किया होगा और कानूनी अपराध किया होगा, और मेरे सारे मतदाताओं को अपराधी बनाना और चुनाव आयोग शांत रहे, संभव नहीं। हलफनामा देना होगा या देश से माफी मांगनी होगी, तीसरा विकल्प नहीं है। आपके माध्यम से मैं ये भी कहना चाहता हूं, अगर 7 दिन में हलफनामा नहीं मिला तो इसका अर्थ ये सारे आरोप निराधार हैं।
So there you have Gyanesh Kumar responding to Rahul Gandhi, saying either Rahul Gandhi on affidavit prove his allegations or put his allegations down in an affidavit or apologize to the country. Do you agree, Ashok Lavasa, with what Gyanesh Kumar said? Would you have done the same thing? In 1 week, you have to apologize unless you bring out an affidavit.
Well, I think the straight answer to that is that it doesn't require for anybody to submit an affidavit if there is a serious complaint which the Election Commission must look into. And I think this is a presentation which was made with some bit of analysis. And the claim was that this is Election Commission's data. So Election Commission of India, being the custodian of the electoral rolls, if such serious allegations are being leveled, I think it is the responsibility of any public organization, leave aside a body, constitutional body like the Election Commission, that I think this needs to be investigated. You cannot allow a doubt to hang in the air, because a doubt has been raised on the integrity of the electoral roll which is prepared under the supervision of the Election Commission. And therefore, I think they need to inquire into it and tell the people what the facts are.
So, Mr. Rawat, is that part of the problem? The Supreme Court has also said this. There is a trust deficit today between the Election Commission and the political parties, which worryingly could tomorrow also go to the people. We trust the Election Commission. We are very proud as Indians that we have free and fair elections, unlike many of our South Asian neighbors. Do you therefore believe the Election Commission should order an inquiry, doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani, rather than daring Rahul Gandhi to put it on affidavit?
Actually, questioning any stakeholder per se has never been the forte of Election Commission. Like my colleague and friend Ashok said, that whenever any doubt is expressed by even a common voter, Election Commission would always take it seriously, immediately investigate, and immediately put the results and findings to that person and in public domain to ensure that no clouds of doubt build up.
So the onus is on the Election Commission.
True, Election Commission should immediately have sorted that out.
But the flip side, Dr. Quraishi, is Rahul Gandhi is accused of discrediting an institution that we have trusted. That every day if you say Election Commission chor hai, Election Commission is in the BJP's lap, the average public will say, we are losing faith. Is Rahul Gandhi to blame here or is the Election Commission to blame?
Well, no, don't forget Rahul Gandhi is the leader of the opposition. And he is not voicing his own opinion, he is voicing the opinion of millions of people. Therefore, if he makes this comment, commission getting angry, it's not in the grain of the commission to get angry.
So what would you have done?
No, we would have ordered an inquiry. We would have taken it seriously and asking him for affidavit. What if he turns around and says, okay, you give me an affidavit that whatever 65 lakh deletions you have done, please give an affidavit. If there is one mistake, you will be criminally liable. Therefore, mistakes can be on either side. Daring the leader of opposition this way, with this tone and with this anger, I don't think it has done any credit to the Election Commission.
Interesting that all the three election commissioners, therefore, are distancing themselves from Gyanesh Kumar, the chief election commissioner at the moment, and saying the Election Commission should order an inquiry into these charges of alleged deletions, additions, and irregularities, alleged irregularities in the electoral rolls. Am I correct? It's like a thief coming into or you alleging that a thief has come to my house and stolen something, and the police says, please give an affidavit that something is stolen. You're saying it's the police's job first to investigate. Am I correct?
Rajdeep, I think the point which need to be understood is this, that who is in the best position to clarify to the people of India what the facts are? It is the Election Commission. And I don't think that Election Commission should treat this as a complaint against the Election Commission, because all this work is done under the supervision of the Election Commission, no doubt, but it is done by the machinery in the field. And when you have lakhs of people working, somebody could have gone wrong. So I don't think there is any reason for the Election Commission to feel that it's an allegation level against them. They have always distanced themselves. All the work of the electoral roll preparation, all the conduct of elections is done by a field machinery which is statutorily responsible for doing that work. It is done under the superintendent's direction and control of the Election Commission. So if there is a complaint, they have to look into it.
Okay. Mr. Rawat?
Yeah, I would like to add here that in the days when any transgression, even in the fields of business, are being decriminalized, and the move is for that, that should be welcome. Why are we criminalizing things in the democratic space or election space? Affidavit means once your affidavit is found false, you can be penalized by 6 months imprisonment. Where is the need of criminalizing activities against the voter, against the complainant, against any political stakeholder?
Okay, interesting. I want to then move from there, and I'll come back to this at the very end, whether our election commissioners are truly neutral umpires, or are they like the Pakistani umpires of the 1980s, who were never neutral. When Indian batsmen were LBW, they were all hit the leg, they were always given LBW. We'll come back to that. But I want to turn to a very important issue, particularly since we are in southern India, which is delimitation. I want to put up first on the screen a graphic so that everybody understands what the concern is. Why is delimitation such a hot potato? Now, at the moment, if you look at the 543 seats and how they are spread at the moment, the scenario now versus the scenario that could come if the seats increase to 848 as per population in a couple of years. And what you will see is all the southern states could lose out. Uttar Pradesh, for example, could go up from 80 seats to 63 more seats. On the other hand, Tamil Nadu would only go up by 10 seats. Andhra plus Telangana by 12 seats, Karnataka by 13, and Kerala by no seats at all. Bihar is going up, on the other hand, by 39 seats. Rajasthan by 25. Madhya Pradesh by 23. This is assuming present population numbers in a couple of years if delimitation comes. Will North India overwhelm South India in the total number of seats, assuming that we have roughly 20 lakhs per constituency? Is what we are looking at, and the population of the country after the next census, which has still not been done. I want to ask you, is this a genuine concern, Mr. Lavasa? If I'm sitting in South India, I'm looking at these numbers and saying, am I being penalized for my better population growth rates? What's your response?
I think it's a very genuine concern for the simple reason that the Constitution provides that delimitation is done on the basis of population. Now, it's a mathematical criteria which was incorporated in the Constitution, I think for the simple reason that at that time, this was the simplest formulation available. Over the period of time, you would find, if you trace the growth of the number of seats in different states and the criteria which has been adopted by different delimitation commissions, you will find that while the population criteria has been the most important criteria, other factors have been kept in consideration. Now, there is a reason why at some point in time it was decided that let's defer this exercise for some time. So I think it's not a straightforward problem. There are three reasons why I say it is not straightforward. First of all, we, especially those who are arguing against the population-based criteria, you are saying that we should not follow the Constitution the way it is written. And there is a need for re-looking at that. So that is the first complex issue. The second is that the population criteria, which has been followed, if you follow that, there are a lot of inconsistencies already in the existing number of seats, right? In the sense that you don't have equal number of voters or electors being represented in all the constituencies. The range is something like 57,000 voter or electors to a constituency, I'm talking of parliament, to 29 lakh, more than 29 lakh. So that is the range. Now, what does it mean to represent a constituency? Because ultimately the job of a member of parliament or the member of legislative assembly is to legislate. They are lawmakers, right? Or they sit in various standing committees of the parliament or the Vidhan Sabha. How does it matter whether you represent 1 million people, 2 million people, or 50,000 people? That range is still existing. So the point which I am trying to make, and maybe I can come back to this issue later, that there is a need to refine the criteria for the simple reason. And let me stop by just stating this, that population control or family planning, family welfare is a policy of the government. It is a policy which was encouraged for everyone to follow. So if the government of India has encouraged states to adopt family planning or family welfare measures, which has led to the control of population in certain states, how can that criteria be used against those states? I think that's a very valid point.
So you're saying don't use population as the only criteria. You'll have to have a mix of criteria while deciding delimitation.
Yeah, I can tell you some criteria.
Yeah, we will come to that because, why should you be penalized? I'm looking at this map and look at southern India. Southern India, by and large, has either seen no change or has seen a decline in population. The blue, which is North India, the Hindi heartland, is where the growth is taking place. You've also written on population, Dr. S.Y. Quraishi, but guess what's happening? Suddenly from Chandrababu Naidu ji to M.K. Stalin, they're saying we need to have more children. They're encouraging people to have more children. So you're reversing population growth because you're worried that you lose out politically. So what would your suggestion be? Should we go with delimitation on the basis of population or find some new criteria?
The delimitation is a constitutional requirement. And first two delimitations went by that, and they even changed the composition of the MPs in every state.
Yes.
And there are two purposes of a delimitation. One is within the state, you draw the boundaries of the constituencies so that every MP represents equal number of people. The other was interstate. Now, after the first two delimitations in 1971, 1975, 76, the issue came up with exactly what you're raising now, that Tamil Nadu was the leading state in success of family planning program, which was a national program. We were the first country to have a national family planning program. Tamil Nadu responded, they achieved brilliantly, and so did Kerala and other states. And for that, instead of being rewarded, if you want to punish them, and you had mentioned in the beginning, or maybe Raj in his opening remarks was talking about, it's not just a question of economic and the fund devolution. It is very important. You're contributing about 40% or how much to the central revenue, getting back only 20. It is a question of political power and federalism. Now, any threat to that? Now, in 71, the parliament discussed this and came to the conclusion that we will freeze the delimitation at 1971 census, and that was you might say it was Indira Gandhi government in emergency. But 2002, Vajpayee government came to the same conclusion. The logic which was relevant then is still valid today.
No, but why should is the solution freezing the number of constituencies? Bangalore, there are constituencies in Bengaluru with 30 lakh voters.
No, not within
So I'm asking you, do you freeze delimitation or change the formula?
No,
Or do you approve of M.K. Stalin and Chandrababu Naidu saying, please have more children?
No, that of course is a very drastic and dangerous solution. What I am saying is the formula which was adopted in 1976 and 2002. Stick to that. Within the state, there will be surely the delimitation and redrawing the boundaries. But interstate, the power of the sharing should be maintained by keeping the logic extended for the next 25 years again.
But Amit Shah ji, the Home Minister, has said, pro rata nothing will change. So if UP increases by a certain proportion, so will Tamil Nadu. Can we trust politicians or not?
No, we can trust politicians in that.
Really?
I'll tell you why. Because that is a very good logical formula. But at the same time, and this is in the context of, the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have now bigger halls. They have 888 seats. Suppose women's reservation, 30 seats are added, 888. So they will also be distributed pro rata. Pro rata sounds very logical. But in terms of absolute numbers, it will disturb the equation. It will disturb the power. UP will get more number of things, and Parliament votes in terms of actual numbers and not on proportions.
So you're saying look beyond population. You agree with Ashok Lavasa? Don't only make population the sole criteria. Yes. Also give a certain mark, let's say, to economic growth. Give markers. Have a grade like some colleges have when you're admitting someone into college, not just one criteria. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree. We have to find a very workable solution. We have to think it through, and that is the beginning, because even the formula which is offered, that proportion will be maintained, but in absolute numbers, it will disturb the equation between north and south.
Okay. Mr. Rawat, do you believe that we need a more imaginative formula for delimitation? Just population alone cannot be the criteria, because then every chief minister will start saying, please have more kids.
Going by the past, at the time of independence, we denied this pleasure to the Britishers. We said, nothing doing, no restrictive voting, we will have universal suffrage. And they said, condemned us, that you will ruin your country. But we proved them wrong. But futuristic, if you see that southern leadership asking for more children, that is the crucial point. And therefore, we must try and rebuild the constitutional framework for delimitation with that in mind.
Very, very interesting. You have a formula in mind. What is the criteria you would use, not if it was not just population, to ensure that the north-south divide doesn't widen?
No, I don't have a formula, but I have a suggestion for the consideration of the experts. You take the case of GDP growth. Don't you apply a deflator to distinguish between real and nominal GDP growth? You do apply a deflator. And Finance Commission, for example, which is also a constitutional body, by the way, they sit every 5 years to determine a formula for allocation of financial resources between center and states. Here, you're talking about allocation of political power to different states. So there are two principles involved in this. One is the principle of population proportionality. The other is the principle of federalism. So I don't see why one principle should undermine the other. In this case, for example, the chart that you put up, where you are showing that if you go by the population criteria, for example, the current population criteria is frozen on the basis of 1971 census, right? If you were to extrapolate that, then the total number of seats comes to something like 1,480 or some number of seats. But the moment you apply, for example, the total fertility rate criteria, and you use that as a divisor, then the total number of seats required will drastically come down from 1,480 to something like 600 and something. Because the total fertility rate is one composite criteria which shows why the population growth has taken place in a certain state. So if you want to neutralize the population factor, then you could apply something like this. Of course, there needs to be proper consultation, and I'm not saying that this is a solution, but certainly the formulation requires to be made more sophisticated.
And I think we are saying this not because we are in Coimbatore, but we would like federalism to be strengthened, where southern India doesn't feel that politically it's North India which is dominating, even as southern India becomes the nation's economic powerhouse. We need to achieve a greater balance in that sense. We have about 4 minutes to go. Let me throw that googly question to you. I don't know, Dr. Quraishi, whether you are a cricket fan. I am. In the 1980s, as I said, the moment the ball hit the pad of an Indian batsman when they went to Pakistan, immediately the batsman would be declared LBW out. And therefore, Imran Khan, to his credit, pushed for neutral umpires. The Election Commission was always seen by the people as a neutral body, above politics. Can we say that the Election Commission is truly neutral? Honest answer. And I'm not just saying today, was it even neutral when the Congress was in power? Is the election commission beholden to whoever is in power?
Well, I can guarantee that in my time, which was the Congress regime, not once did I receive a call from PMO or anybody. We were totally independent without doubt. We are very proud, and it showed to the it was really, obvious to the nation. Our credibility was very high. The fact that it is being questioned pains me, no doubt. So therefore, and which is why, we used to make...
Sir, but you were also appointed by a Congress government.
Exactly.
Now they are appointed by an NDA government. They will say all your appointments are done by the government.
Just a minute. Yes, I was appointed by the Congress government, but I censured the law minister of the land and charge sheeted 3 ministers of the same Congress party, because once appointed, we are supposed to distance ourselves. That is provided in the constitution, and we did it. And we used to make fun of Bangladesh and some other countries in Pakistan, where they used to demand an interim government to conduct the election. And we used to say, look, what is the foolish demand? Here, the election commission itself become the interim government. Unfortunately, questions are being raised about the neutrality of the...
So you're saying the challenge is on the individuals have enough power to remain neutral?
Absolutely.
Even if they get a phone call from the PMO?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it happened that PMO called and all 3 commissioners appeared there. Secretary to PM called. It was unimaginable in our time.
Mr. Lavasa, I won't go into the controversy of how you resigned from the Election Commission, because you allegedly submitted a dissent note against the Prime Minister of the country at the time. But tell me, is the Election Commission neutral? Can this audience go back home believing that we have a neutral Election Commission? Honest answer.
Rajdeep, I think since you mentioned cricket, so let me take your analogy a little forward. You said there was a time when umpires gave LBW according to their discretion, but see how things have changed. Now you have a third umpire, now you have telecast, you have DRS. The whole world is watching. The facts are available to the people to determine whether the judgment or the decision was fair or not. So the point which I'm trying to make is that, you see, trust comes out of the conduct of individuals as well as the transparency that an institution has in terms of its systems. So the more transparency you have, I think the greater will be the trust that people repose in the organization.
That's an important point. Mr. Rawat, is the Election Commission non-transparent? You don't tell us, we don't even get, and this is the political parties are saying they can't have access now to CCTV footage. They can't have access to machine-readable electoral rolls, even if I want to point out irregularities. Should the Election Commission become more transparent?
Election Commission is transparent. The electoral roll is not put in digital format because of the fear of hacking, and our database has to be protected because that is sacrosanct for any election. Second thing about CCTV footage, that is not for this purpose because it only records the events which lead to the polling, and that is done to redress the grievances of that day. And lastly, I will add that Election Commission is as neutral as the last man in the polling booth. And in Bihar election in 2015, no violence, no firing, no incident. Even then we lost 17 of our polling personnel because of the stress of fighting pressures and not succumbing to it.
I just have a minute left. 2 quick questions, because it's not often that we get 3 election commissioners together. Number 1, do you believe the EVM system is superior to the ballot boxes? You spoke of Bihar. I remember covering an election in Bihar in the early 90s amidst allegations of booth capturing. Was the system worse before and better in EVMs, or should we go back to paper ballots?
I strongly support EVM. I've been supporting all along, and I stand by it.
Support EVMs?
Support EVM.
Ashok Lavasa, you support EVMs?
Absolutely, I support EVM. Although what I would say is that we should not be complacent that every system is always foolproof. So the effort to scrutinize your own procedures and system should be ongoing.
Mr. Rawat, do you support EVMs?
Within the Election Commission's administrative and security system, EVM is the safest bet.
Okay, so we've got a consensus on that as well. My final question, people had hardly heard of the Election Commission till someone who lived not too far away from here suddenly became the Chief Election Commissioner, T.N. Seshan. Do you believe that the T.N. Seshan model is the right model, where he once said, I eat politicians for breakfast? Do you believe that's the way the Election Commission should be? He or she should put fear in the minds of politicians.
You know, I think Mr. Session was the need of the time, and he did brilliant work, and he made the Election Commission respectable, and we are all beneficiaries of what he did. At the same time, even Mr. T.N. Session could not have been able to speak this kind of language that he eats politicians for breakfast, because he'll get indigestion.
Or he might have the ED knocking on his door, which is another question. Mr. Lavasa, the Session model is the way forward or not?
Rajdeep, if you
Put
permit,
fear in the minds of politicians.
if you permit, I'll answer your question by another anecdote from cricket. Sir Grace, you know, when he was retiring, he was...
W.G. Grace.
Yes,
The
W.G.
cricketer.
Grace. The cricketer. When he was retiring, he was invited by his village to play an exhibition match. So he went, and on the very first ball, he was out. And the umpire raised his finger. So Sir Grace walked up to the umpire and he said, look, all these guys have not come here to see your umpiring. They've come here to see my batting.
On that note, wonderful to have had 3 election commissioners speaking so candidly from their experience. I think we've all gained a lot from this conversation, and this is what we need really. We don't need confrontation, we need dialogue. And out of that dialogue, if we can create a more transparent election system, I think public faith in our elections will only be further strengthened. We are not like the other South Asian countries mentioned in Dr. Quraishi's book, many of whom do not have elections. There, if you lose an election, you're thrown into jail. So we are a bit better than I think most of the other countries, but we still need to raise the bar compared to what it is today. Become better and more transparent all the time. I thank all my panelists joining us here on the India Today South Conclave. Give them a very big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Vanakkam, hello and welcome to our first session at the India Today South Conclave. Over the last few months, one issue has resonated across the country, cutting across geographical boundaries, but particularly resonating in the South because many of the states here are at the moment controlled by opposition-ruled governments, all of whom have uniformly claimed that elections in this country are suffering from numerous irregularities. Rahul Gandhi, the Congress leader, has alleged vote chori or vote theft. How true is this? Is this exaggerated or is this a reality? Also, there is another big question that's swirling in the wind. Delimitation. Will the southern states lose out to the north states because of their better track record on population? Will the number of Lok Sabha constituencies decline for the southern states? Who better then to answer and kick off our India Today South Conclave than a very special panel of former Chief Election Commissioners and Election Commissioners. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ashok Lavasa, former Election Commissioner, O.P. Rawat, former Chief Election Commissioner, and Dr. S.Y. Quraishi, former Chief Election Commissioner, who's just brought out a new book, Democracy's Heartland, where he explores the battle for power in South Asia. Thank you all very much for joining me. I'm going to cut the chase and ask you first for your initial remarks to what Rahul Gandhi has said. Do you believe each and every one of you, very quickly, that there is vote chori in India, that there is vote theft, or elections are not free and fair? I want all 3 of you to answer that. Who wants to start first? Why don't you start, Mr. Lavasa, first? Are elections in India free and fair, or is there vote chori?
Thank you very much. I think elections in India are by and large fair. The track record will prove that. As far as the expression vote chori is concerned, I think it is a political expression, and I don't know how to interpret that because nobody has the means to know who has voted for whom. So I don't feel that vote chori itself is an issue, but yes, the issue is the sanctity and the integrity of electoral rolls.
So you're saying elections are free and fair. Vote chori is a political term.
That's right.
Okay, Mr. Rawat, are elections in India free and fair, or is there vote chori as is being alleged by the opposition? Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Yes, no, I can't. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to put things in context. The resolution of political conflict could take place through huge battles and wars, where thousands and lakhs were killed. Elections have replaced that process of resolution of political conflict and is the most peaceful way of resolving the political conflict. Now, expecting that nothing will happen during elections, everything will proceed like silence, no news, nothing newsworthy. It is expecting too much. And therefore, take these comments in that spirit that things will happen, elections will make a noise, and news media will be full of reporting during elections. Nothing much, because India's elections are gold standard, always praised by most of the democracies across the world as most free, fair, and credible elections.
So you're saying this is all noise, that the reality is Indian elections are free and fair. Am I correct?
Noise, like there will not be any smoke if there is no fire. All stakeholders will try moving heaven and earth to win. Even Olympics have doping. So things will be there, but by and large, it is free and fair.
By and large, it is free and fair. Okay, you're slightly hedging there. Dr. Quraishi, are elections in India free and fair, or is there an element of vote chori, irregularities, especially in the electoral rolls?
Well, vote chori is a political rhetoric.
Okay.
But at the same time, the concerns about the purity of electoral rolls are legitimate. I have always said that electoral roll is our soft underbelly. Always there is a problem about the electoral rolls, and that is the foundation of India's election and its purity. And unless the electoral rolls are pure and clean, fair elections will not be possible. But I agree with both my colleagues that by and large, still considering the size, 1 billion voters, most of the thing goes by clockwork precision, but some political issues mar the reputation, and we have to be concerned about it.
No, you're saying by and large elections are free and fair, but
Yes,
electoral rolls are not pure,
no, electoral rolls are
not fully pure.
They can never be perfect. It has been held by various courts also. They can never be perfect, but our attempt is to make them as perfect as we can.
Mr. Lavasa, this argument that by and large it is free and fair. One academic recently said elections in India are free, but they are not fair. There is no level playing field. Let's be very clear. If I have 50 crores, 100 crores in Coimbatore, for example, I will splash it on an election. What's the limit that you all have at the moment? It runs into, I think, 90 lakhs.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, people are spending 90 crores on an election and your limit is 90 lakhs. Let's get this clear. A, do you agree with Dr. Quraishi that electoral rolls are not pure? That there are irregularities as are being pointed out? People have duplicate epic cards.
It's like saying that in the India Today magazine, there is no printer's devil. There could be. So I think in an electoral roll, which today has about 99 crore people, there are bound to be some errors. The question is whether those errors are bona fide or they are malified. The other question is how robust is the system which Election Commission has put in place to ensure that every every elector is included in the electoral roll. And the third thing is whether the machinery in the field which is employed to do this work, it is doing its work freely, fairly, sincerely, meticulously. Because there are instructions of the Election Commission to guide them at each every step. And finally, the fourth thing is how responsible are the electors themselves in ensuring that their name figures at one place, not more than one place, and that if there are any errors, they are taking steps to correct those errors.
No, so if the irregularities are there, in your view, are they bona fide, genuine mistakes, or are they malified?
Both.
But that's a very serious charge if you're saying that they are both. Are you saying, therefore, that the electoral process can be contaminated?
In the sense that, as I said, that how many electors ensure that their name is not enrolled in more than one place? Primary responsibility of ensuring this is of the elector, but I think a lot of us don't exercise due caution and get our names removed from the earlier place. So that is one. Although according to the Representation of People Act, it is a crime to have your name enrolled in more than one place, but people feel that they are not voting in two places, so that's all right. But the other thing is that if there are enrollments which are taking place of people who don't reside in that area, they have migrated to some other place and their names are not deleted, it means that the person, the field functionary, is not doing his job properly.
You want to respond quickly, Dr. Quraishi? Who do I hold accountable? Mr. Lavasa is saying an elector is accountable if he or she has two epic cards and has not removed his or her name from the electoral rolls. Why blame the Election Commission? We ultimately have 99 crores, a huge amount, more massive compared to any other country in the world. It's not easy for the Election Commission to go through with a tooth comb every detail that's available.
Well, I would like to modify what Ashok said. In our time, this problem was there also and acute. If you register at two places, it is a criminal offense. And till our time, you know, if you moved from Tamil Nadu to Delhi, it was your responsibility to get your name removed from Tamil Nadu. But we found that most of the migrants were very poor people. It was impossible for them to go back and get it removed from there. So we made it easy for them. In your new application form, in your new place, just indicate that please tell us where were you previously registered, and we take the responsibility to get it removed.